All right, so I see a lot of us having some trouble with the factoring. This is what we were working on right before we left for this quarantine. I'm gonna just go ahead and have the example of 14x minus 28. All right, so our goal here is just kind of to make all of our numbers smaller. We are doing the opposite of the distributive property. We want to have something in parentheses instead. So what we have to do first is find the common factor. So to do this, or find the greatest common factor, to do this, we are going to do our factor trees. You've got 14 can be split into 2 and 7. There's your prime factorization, as simple as that. 28, we can split into 7 and 4. We've already gotten one number. 4 can be split into 2 and 2, and both of these are prime. So we're doing our prime factorization. We are splitting these apart until we get to numbers that we can't split apart through multiplication anymore. We can't multiply anything by 7 except for 1 to get to 7. All right? So that's why we circle 7. That's why we circle 2. I can split 4 to 2 times 2. That's why it gets separated. My prime factorization for 14 is just 2 times 7. And for 28, it's 2 times 2 times 7. Now for our next step, we are going to go ahead and we're going to draw our circles. We're making our Venn diagram so we can put this all in here. Now, what we do is we put what is in common in the middle. If it isn't in common, we don't put it in the middle. So first, we check, we have a 2, we have a 2. Only 1 2 goes into the middle. Now, we have a 7, we have a 7 here. That 7 goes into the middle. Now, we have an extra 2 here. It's just going to go on the outside. We're finding the GCF, or the greatest common factor. Since we're finding the greatest common factor, we multiply what is in the middle only. So what's 2 times 7? It's 14. 14 is our greatest common factor. Now, what we do now is we're going to put 14 on the outside, and then we're going to have parentheses right here. We have to divide these numbers by 14. 14 divided by 14 is 1, but it has that x attached. We're just bringing the x over, all right, because there's an understood 1 in front of that x. Now we're dividing 28, so 28 divided by 14. Let's go ahead and let's just do a guess and check. I think it's probably going to be 14 times 2. 14 times 2, 8, 2, 28, perfect. So this equals 2. We're going to keep our sign here, okay? We keep our sign the same. 28 divided by 14 is 2. All right, your answer should look like this. It should not be something like 28x. If you only have one number, your answer is wrong. You can't combine 14x and 28 because 28 doesn't have an x with it. It has to have that variable if you're going to do anything with it, but it doesn't have that variable, so we can't. We are just making an equivalent expression. So that means means the exact same thing. Now, if I want to check my work, so if I want to make sure my work is correct, I'm going to distribute my 14. So I'm going to go and use my distributive property. 14 times x is going to be 14x, all right? And then 14 times 2 is going to be 28. So you can distribute your 14 using your distributive property. Y'all did great with this to get to your answer, all right? So 14x minus 28, if you're factoring it, becomes 14x minus 2. This is just a way to check it. So we got it right because when we distributed this back out, we got the exact same thing. You should not be getting a singular number as your answer. That should not be happening, okay? You need to have something that looks like this. You will have a number on the outside, 2 numbers on the inside, separated by addition or subtraction, parentheses around it. You will not have a single number. Keep that in mind when you are working on this, okay?